No, I was going to say is it super important. We're a safety company, right?
And that's actually how you got that collaboration going with Cynthia, with Cynbad, with the coil leash, with that cover on top, so that the bridles don't get tangled. Is that okay with you?
It's okay with me. Is it okay with you, boss, Roy?
Boss. Yes, everything's okay with me. Everything's cool. I'm very laid back on this kind of stuff. So
Did you know that when you're in the water, in cold water, that you can actually grow bone in your ear canal and it can close up? And if you close up completely, you cannot hear anymore. If it closes up a little bit and the water gets in, it cannot get out. That can lead to infection. So, you know, protect yourself. Get yourself some earplugs. These are SurfEars. The link is in the description if you want some. The cool thing about SurfEars is it prevents water from coming in, but you can still hear because it's got this mesh fabric that still lets audio through, which is nice.
This is up on Foil, the podcast for everyone flying just above the surface. Pump, carve, soar, let's foil!
This episode is also sponsored by Foilsessions, but more on that later. So welcome to episode number 86 of Up on Foil, the podcast, where we talk all about foiling. And today it is with Roy Lundstedt, and he's the man behind Leash. Leashes in general. He has a lot of products that we're going to talk about. Roy, thank you so much for taking your time. It's super cool. You sent me these leashes to test, to try, and I'm super excited to talk about them. Maybe you can just help me and our listeners and tell us, how did that get started, man? Why did you think that it was important to get a better leash out? Were you not happy with
yeah,
what was out there?
yeah. So this is it's an interesting way we got into it. Sometimes you plan things out, sometimes you back into stuff, and sometimes again it just happens, right? But as things happen, is you really have to perform, as because it's not like it gets to be a very expensive hobby if you're not committed to your business, right? And the I my background is I've been surfing for years. I finished high school up in Northern California in Santa Cruz, so I'm used to surfing waves and bigger waves and had fun. And then I ended up going to college in San Diego where it's warm and you didn't have to wear a wetsuit. So that was a different experience. And then just enjoyed surfing. And then what happens as you kind of age a little bit is shoulders get tweaked and, and your body starts breaking down. So I got into subsurfing, and that's kind of where it started really with subsurfing I've always been the kind of person. I wasn't like a shortboard is the solution for everything surfing, right? So I had big wave guns, I had longboards, I had shortboards, I'd ride a boogie board. I didn't care. A fish didn't matter. It was like, let's go have fun.
Nice.
And I think you see that a lot in Hawaii too, is they don't really care a lot of times what they ride, just as long as they're having fun. And I have like our first key invention here. I'll hold it up, but is when I got into subsurfing, a lot of longer boards and a lot of longer leashes, right? 10-foot board, 10-foot leash. And that's a lot of distance that you could hit someone if you fall off your board, especially if you're riding waves. And not everyone that got into subsurfing was an experienced surfer. So I kind of knew to stay away. I knew where to paddle, when not to paddle, all that stuff. And as I got better at subsurfing, obviously it was pretty easy to work with the gear. And then what came up, and who knows, there's a saying that you've probably heard, there's nothing new under the sun, but we created what we call a rail saver handle. So this, instead of a straight rail saver, you have a handle on the back of your board, and it's not to hold in the impact zone. It's really something that you would hold onto your board to make sure you're in the white water, kind of hold your position in the surf, maybe winging. It's just a safety thing. Sometimes you just want to rest and hold on to your board before you get back up. There's so many different
Yeah.
ways, and so this became a really cool thing. So I started making a couple of these leashes locally. There's Southern California seems to be a hotbed of leash companies. There's like Destination Surf, XM, Stay Covered, all great companies. And then but no one was focusing on sup. And so I found, and by the way, another guy named Crow Haley was out of San Diego County. I don't know why everyone's congregated here, maybe surf culture, but we created a leash for sup surfing, and this guy was the one that was helping me make it. And then people started liking it. I said, "Oh, I might have something here." And so we made a bunch of these and leashes, and that's how we got into the sup part. And then one of my key friends, his name is Dave Dahm. He's a great shaper out of Southern California. He was getting into foiling. He was one of the first guys local here. There's only like a couple guys in San Diego County foiling. And I figured, you know what, I like everything. I'm just going to try foiling. So I invested in it. And it turns out, an 8-foot leash is not good for foiling. The 10-foot coil is not good for foiling. Maybe these wide coils are not good for foiling. So it was like, all right, well, this guy is probably making my sub leashes. I'm just kind of started this. Why don't I get into refining it? And then that's where really we became, got into the foiling side of the business. Is really it was a natural progression. And uh, one last thing on that, it's kind of a run on answer, but it's the one thing that, because I foil and I'm out there, is I would put the leashes on my friends' boards and they would tell me, "Oh, Roy, this is great," or "This sucks." And so I love getting the feedback where people tell me, "Hey, your stuff isn't, it's good, but not that good," because ultimately it's not, I personally don't take that, let's call it's not a personal affront on me. It's like, we need to make this better and we need to do the best we can. And so that's what I love, is I love people like you, or Gav, or some of the newer people we're working with, or some of the people in Maui, around the world, Australians and stuff like that, and people in Europe are just amazing at the feedback and the support. So we get our ideas from riding ourselves, but other people give you ideas and really want to improve the industry, like Cynthia. And that's kind of where we came from. And that's where we are now.
Very nice, very nice. Can you maybe tell me what is the main difference between leashes for stand-up and foil boards? Do they need to be shorter, less springy? What's the difference?
Yeah, that's a great question. In general, sup for surfing, part of it were straight leashes. And then for sup, if you're just paddling around enjoying your day, there was a coil version of it, right? Because you didn't want it dragging. You weren't riding waves. Maybe you're riding in a lagoon and you didn't want it to get the long straight leash to get hooked on a log or something, or whatever, a rock. Or
Mhm.
and when you got into foiling, the only really short leashes were like surf leashes, and they might have been a little bit too thin or too long. And so it's really identifying what's the proper, if you're going to coil the leash, what's the proper, length of the coil? What's the, are calf cuffs better than ankle cuffs? And the same thing with straight leashes, is we ended up making a 4-foot straight, and we still make it a 4-foot straight calf or ankle leash, and it's a comp leash diameter for prone foiling. And there's still people that love that product. And ultimately, it's a combination of things. It's length, thickness. What are they actually doing? How are they riding? And that's kind of what's interesting. That's why the Invis leash came about. Is we started doing downwinding and winging, and depends on where you're at. We needed a hybrid leash. We felt we didn't want an all coil leash. And so, yeah, so there's so many, I mean, we wouldn't need a coil cover really a year or 2 years ago, let's say, right? And then when winging came out a few years
Yeah.
back, it was like, we don't need bungee leashes, and all of a sudden we need bungee leashes, right? And so it's like, this is a great market. There's great people here, great companies, and the innovation keeps coming. It's like, well, we fit in there as that accessory brand that can provide new technology. We can do it quick, and that's our focus. We love the accessory side of it, and it's a great place to be. you gave us a good idea. You just gave us a good idea. Is on the ankle cuff or calf cuff. Is that tab? Maybe there's a better way to make that tab smoother or lower profile. That's a good idea. Any company can, when they hear the podcast, is it makes sense. Is like we have that so you can take it off, but you're more concerned about it catching your bridle lines catching on that tab there because they catch everything, right? And the other thing I was going to,
Yeah.
yeah. So to answer your question, yes, a lot of the stuff are interchangeable inter-sport. Like you can wear the same leash for winging, prone, downwinding, sup, all foiling and stuff like that. Absolutely can.
But you would say, like, if you were, you have these leashes separately by sport. Example, here, the little latch, you would need that when surfing, just that you find that latch quickly and can release if you need to. You don't need that with parawing or not that much. So that would be a difference between the sports.
Yeah, well, it could be if you're going to go. Yeah, you could make it that way. You could just make it a low profile. We'll call it a strap on the cuff, and one that's easier to grab. Some people just want to easy grab it because surfing, there's no drag or there's no other issue with. You can make that thing a big giant bow if you wanted to, and it wouldn't matter. But
Mhm.
parawinging and other sports where you do have other lines and cords and leashes and stuff like that is you really want to eliminate that possibility of entanglement, let's call it. And then you know what the one thing I was going to say about this is w- I don't know if we'll get rid of 100% of the hassle of brighter lines, right? You never know, right? Where there's always
Yeah.
inventions and stuff that, but if you look at it, is compare. All you have to do is ride an invis leash without a cover and one with a cover, and you go, oh, now I get it, right? This is like I had it tangled one time versus 20 times, right? And then I think also a lot of times is as we try a new sport, there's so many things going on. It's like holding on, tuck it in the pouch, whatever. There's so many things moving that are not second nature to us, and that's where we find the frustration is early on. We still may find it later on, but it's just like when you first started foiling, lean forward, wait a little bit and wait it and look at worry about altitude. And as you turn, you might drop down a little bit on the altitude of the foiling, how you're flying. And so that became second nature. But as you try a new sport, there's a lot of frustration. And we may contribute to that, having a leash, but maybe it's the parawing, maybe it's the board or whatever. But I think it's all about patience. And if there is something that we could make on our product line better for you, be better as a company. Obviously, we always want to hear. We'll always respond and through either Instagram or email or contact us, and we'd love to work with you.
And that's actually how you got that collaboration going with Cynthia, with Cynbad, with the coiled leash, with that cover on top, so that the bridles don't get tangled, which is super nice. And she's actually on the show, so let's just go to the next segment and invite Cynthia
Sure.
in. Well, then we just get into it because obviously we need board leashes when we're on the parawing. Because with the wind wing, yes, you can always kind of body drag, but if your parawing is in the water, maybe even in the white water, and you have to get it out, I don't think you can get it out in the air and then body drag yourself to the board. So I really need a board leash. Um, but yes, the coil part, it sucks. Um, whose idea was it to make it even better?
Well, it started kind of organically with I mean, Roy and Karen have that incredible Invisaleash, and we were all using it for downwind boards, and it's just like it's insane because you feel like you have no leash at all. You don't even know it's there. But then when we were using it for parawing, it had the coil, and the coil was up at your body, and yeah, the grabber, um, the line grabber. So we flipped it over the other way, so the coil was farther away and it was on the board. And then I think it was Johnny Heineken and Kenny Agate said to Roy, like, we love the leash, but we can't get over the annoying banging of the the plastics of the coil smacking the board because those guys pump aggressively. So, of course, I didn't notice because I'm dainty and I didn't notice that noise. But so Roy came up with, I don't know, was it your idea, Roy, or did Johnny who came with the first your Franken covers that you sewed? Was it your idea?
I thought it was your idea. It's like I can't remember because he
I think it was
sewed
Johnny.
Johnny. Yeah, yeah, it has to be Johnny, huh? Because was it him that was doing the hand sewing and stuff?
No one
Yeah,
wants to take credit for that great idea.
I don't know whose idea. I thought it was yours, Roy, and you spent the night sewing these um little neoprene sleeves to cover the swivels. You
Yes,
guys thought, I don't know why you thought the swivel was making the noise. And you hand sewed these Franken covers like this, it's hard to
yes.
hand sew neoprene. And Kenny was coming to visit me, so you sent me 2 prototypes for us to try. And I got it, and I think Kenny wasn't here yet. So I went out the next day, I put it on, and I wanted to film it, so I wasn't concerned about my parawing so much. So I got on a wave, I collapsed the wing, I pulled out the GoPro and I stuck it behind me and I'm filming the leash to see what's going on with it. And sure enough, I'm bouncing, the leash is bouncing, the little neoprene covers just like totally were having a good time rolling around on the coil. And then my parawing leash, my parawing lines got totally wrapped up in the coil. And just like, then I was like, oh my God, that's bad footage. I can't use that. But then I realized, okay, well, this isn't solving the noise problem. And so maybe I should work on solving the parawing lines getting caught problem. And that's how it transcended into that solution.
So
Yeah, we had,
then
don't
I
mind. Sorry, Matt.
understand why you have both
Go for it.
parts, why you have the Dyneema elastic part and the coiled part. That's for the sound then.
Yeah. We were
All right.
trying to mitigate the banging noise of the coil, which you didn't know when you were supping because the coil was next to your body. But with the parawing's too close to your body, the lines were getting caught in the coil. So we flipped it around, and that's how we got the noise.
All right.
Yeah, and it was actually Ken Adgate. I think Ken was the guy that said, "Hey, Roy, if you can soften it up, maybe it's the swivel connector that's hitting the board." And then it was me that hand sewed these little covers. And if you look at the coil, the swivel connectors, they're actually what a funnel shape. So it's trying to sew neoprene around that coil connector and make it stay. I didn't know. I didn't, we were just trying everything we could. And it really turned out that it really wasn't, the whole thing was making a racket, basically. It was not just the hard coil connectors. And if anything, it was the coils that probably hit your board first. So that's probably what we heard. And I think that's the correct situation there. And you're right. It just I think it slid down the coils and did all sorts of crazy stuff. So.
It 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 did, but I knew it was the coil making the noise. But anyhow, then I was like, well, maybe we could just cover this whole coil and then it won't catch the parawing leash. So then I happened to have all this spandex that I used to create my original parawing pouches and these face masks I make and stuff. So I started these coil covers, and then the problem was, well, how do we connect it so that the swivels can still work and do it affordably? And so it was an organic process. It didn't happen overnight. We did prototype after prototype, and then one night, and then how long they had to be to stretch, and what kind of stitching, and it was a pretty elaborate process we went through, both Roy with his guys sewing and me sewing and figuring out how to get these things to not tear and how to work.
Yes, and this connection, it doesn't look like super simple, and it makes sense, like having something hard and then attached to something that needs to move. That's super difficult. When you have these first prototypes, how do you test it? Roy, you sent me some pictures where you hanged it on like on a I don't know somewhere on
A
your
rafter
balcony and
of
like
the
try
porch or the
to
deck,
probably
yes.
rip it.
Yeah.
Um, Cynthia,
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
like really test it on the water? Like
Oh
make some
yeah,
nice
yeah.
falls on
Oh
purpose, of
yeah.
course?
When I sewed a bunch and had a group of friends testing all like Elliot LeBeau and Scott Drexler and my husband and a few other people, Dan Taylor, they're out every day riding them to see how if they hold up and what breaks, what fails. So yeah, we all I went through some vigorous testing, and then Roy tested it with you. He really extremely tested it with like foil drive boards and heavy things.
Yeah, it was,
So what's the most
my
difficult part? Like
testing
having the
was
perfect length?
well, the length of the cover you're asking about, right? Is that the idea? Or the length of the leash
Probably,
or
yeah.
length of um, the,
Well,
length of the
both actually, but
cover.
the cover is probably
Yeah, the cover is the most important, obviously, part of that combination there, and trying to figure out. We were, and it's funny. We go back and forth. We send each other prototypes. Like my sewing, shop would be making something, then Sinbad would have something. We'd shop them, swap them, and oh, this one's working the best. And all of a sudden, nope. We take a fall or whatever. And my testing was I was doing some winging with it. I was doing some sup surfing, and I was just going over the falls. I would kick my board in the white water as it would crash on the beach and try to get it to break and stretch out as far as it could. And sometimes that led to an improvement. Sometimes it just didn't do anything. But yeah, that was the and then the winds and the falls at higher rates of speeds than now are completely different than Southern California. So you had to take that into effect. And so yes, lots of work, lots of test pilots.
Yeah, lots of prototypes. Yeah.
I can imagine because I've tested it myself, not on purpose, but I fall quite a lot and also some hard falls. So for me, it's super important that not only the leash holds, but also that fabric over the coiled part. Um, is it different? I mean, did you test it? Is it different if people wear ankle leashes or waist leashes? Do they fall differently, or is it just it's the length of the coil that makes the length of the fabric?
I think it's the length of the coil. Um, People who tested it with ankle, some people noticed they didn't like added more swing weight for their pumping. I just envision it as a I haven't used it as an ankle yet, but I don't think the falling is different. I just think the experience is different with it.
So
Yeah,
your
there's a
preference
chance.
is a waist leash.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Roy.
Yeah, no, we have so I think I'm trying to think on percentage wise, there might be like 2% get an ankle cuff in this product line, and the rest are calf cuff or some version of being able to hook to a belt or harness. And we have dynamic connectors and carabiners and stuff like that. Everyone chooses what they think is the best for them and their experience.
Because for me, when I think about a leash, it's something that I actually don't want, but I need. It's not a product that is like, oh, I have a new leash. That it's exciting. um, how's that for you guys? If you develop something that I don't know how you feel about it, if you actually like the leash per se, or if it's something that you feel like, well, it's a necessity. I have to live with it.
Well, for me, I mean, when I'm offshore 2 miles, like my biggest fear is that I'm going to lose my board. There's like the leash is super, super important. And I don't want to think about the leash when it's connected to my waist, the Invisi leash with the Parawing coil cover. I don't even know it's there. So it's magic. The problem is when you fall and it's connected to your waist, you have to climb back on the board. So it's a little more difficult than if it's on your ankle. You just kick your leg over and you do need to do a little gymnastics when it's on your waist to get back on the board. But for me, the experience of riding out in the open ocean or in big waves or whatever, that
Mhm.
not seeing the leash, not stepping on the leash, not worry about when I switch my feet, it's going to get caught between my toes. Having it on my waist is ideal. And it's like, yeah, I would never go leashless. In fact, I did a Maliko run with somebody, a very professional winger, and I found out later it was her first Maliko winging, and she didn't have a board leash. And had I known she didn't have a leash, I wouldn't have let her get in the car. I wouldn't have taken her.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
makes sense. But the waist
Yeah.
leash. Go ahead, Roy. Sorry.
No, I was going to say is it's super important. We're a safety company, right? It's super important that our product is made well, of course. And when that's why we test and something happens, we take care of it. You know, we can't have our product fail, and we think we do a great job. We're always trying to get better at the quality and the deliverable and the materials that we put into it. And if something goes wrong, we take care of it. I mean, there's no questions asked. And you're absolutely right. There's so many stories that we've heard. They're miraculous rescues of people we know who have fallen off and their board ghost rides, ahead of them. They can't catch it. And that's not cool. And not only that is are you wearing other safety gear? So vests and helmets and stuff like that to make sure you're safe. So I think there's should be a big focus on people going forward, not just with us, wear a leash for sure, but wear the other gear too as well. And you'll come back to fight another day, as they say, right?
Yeah. Buy
Cynthia,
another
so
leash.
do you use this waist belt here, or you have a different one?
Me?
Oh, you probably use the stash belt, and then you just clip it on, right?
Yes. Or my harness. If I'm surfing, sup surfing, I wear the Kaohi waist belt. But if I'm parawinging, if I'm upwinding, downwinding, or in waves, I wear a regular harness because it's better back support, and then I just clip it on. And then when I'm downwinding, I use the pouch and just clip it on that
All right, yeah,
ozone
makes
stash
a
belt.
lot of sense. I wanted to ask because this is specifically for parawinging, but if we have the coiled leash and this is plastic and we're hopefully or usually out in the sun, UV light is usually not too good on plastics. Does that also help against the UV light? Like, does it make it last longer?
Yeah. I would think so. We've seen, leashes, the color fades. I know sometimes there's certain colors when you make TPU, the polyurethane cord is sometimes they actually change over time than others. Like certain colors don't change or fade or whatever. And does that weaken the strength of it? Probably does. And I think this could be helpful in a lot of ways. I'm not sure it's going to protect it from a foil cut. Maybe there's a next gen that we can work on that's maybe a Dyneema, but Dyneema doesn't stretch, but something like that would be cool. Is then it's like, well, part of the leash is already Dyneema, of course, but the idea is that, yeah, there's probably some other benefits we're going to find out about designing a leash this way with a coil cover. And yes, yes, it
Well, at
could be
least
helpful.
you'll know if you nick your leash because the spandex will cut easier than the coil. But if the spandex is cut from your foil, then you'll know that your leash might be cut as well. And so, I mean, that's another fear when you go out and you've got a little nick in your leash and you don't know. So maybe the cover is actually another device that shows you've got a problem. You need to change your leash.
I was in Sardinia last week, and there was a guy. He had a retractable leash, like kind of a dog leash style. Have
Mhm.
you thought or tested things like that as well?
Roy,
I've never
I
ridden
I
one,
can
but
tell you
Sinbad
my
can talk
experience of
about it. Yeah.
well, I never rode one. I see people with them. I just don't want a big bulky plastic thing that when I wipe out, it's going to hit my expensive, handmade Frank foil board that weighs 6 pounds. So yeah, I don't want a big bulky and also I'm
Mhm.
in salt water. I mean, fresh water is probably fine, but
Yeah,
salt water
yeah.
has got to eventually wear out on the inside. I've never been a big fan of too many complications like that.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. I was going to say is I haven't used one either. I'm assuming that they work fine. There's people that like them, so I think it's just one of those things where there's always going to be a product that people will like, and it may not be for me to use, but other people will find some benefit in it. And yeah, I think there's value in every innovation.
Okay, okay. But you're
Yeah.
looking at those inventions as well.
You know what? We look at everything to see. I mean, we try. Ultimately, is our goal is not to copy stuff. There's some stuff that's been in the public domain forever, right? We grew up surfing and sup surfing in many years. So a lot of this innovation is, our first leashes were just bungee cord, not even dynamic, just bungee attached to a cuff and a board. And that thing would sling back at you and almost knock an eye out or knock you out. And so the technology with the polyurethane and Dyneema and neoprene and stuff that we're working on is no, I wouldn't say it's not necessarily all new material, but combining them is the key. And if you look at how the foiling started 8 years ago when I first got into it, there wasn't any leashes. There wasn't. I mean, everything was new. People were inventing stuff out of their garage, and that's what's cool about it is we're just having a good time. And when we made the coil cover with Cynbad, we're pretty much every time we talk, we're giddy about it. We'd have successes, and a couple times it didn't quite work, and you just think out of the box, and it's a lot of fun.
So Cynthia, are you totally happy with that leash, or is there anything you would want to change?
Well, obviously, I mean, I like dabbling in other ideas. So we've been working on a few other things, and um, we're excited about. But I don't know if they're there yet. But it's never just like you can always paint another masterpiece. I don't know. It's a fun It's part of my life. I mean, parawinging to me is my life, and so anything I can do to make it more enjoyable, I'm gonna try. So.
Have you, Cynthia, never had the problem that lines of the parawing got like hooked in this little part? Ah, you hook it to your stash belt because I have a calf leash,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sometimes it just stays here.
Yeah, it does. I have friends that have cut totally cut that extra Velcro. They'll go out with tiny, like a little 2 tab of Velcro, take that whole Velcro off and think it's okay because they'd rather that than get their line stuck on that.
Okay, okay.
No, I
Because
don't use
the foil cover works super well, really. But that's where like the Achilles heel is for me. Speaking of parawing lines getting tangled, but that's just it's no comparison, really.
but
Taking
I
a
think
note,
that
right?
I
Yeah, we're
highly
taking a note. You
suggest
but
people
wait till
to
you see the
use
next version.
even that that to use it as a connected to your body, like the way the Invisaleash. I mean, just the ankle part. I don't know, like it just seems you get stuck, even if it's on your ankle and the coil cover or not. You still, when you're jiving, don't you step on it and it gets like between your toes, and if it's up
Sometimes
high on
I
your waist, you never step on it.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes I turn around weirdly, and I have my stash pouch, which is not like the biggest and not the best. If I turn it around, sometimes it's hard to turn around. Maybe I have it on too tight. I'm not sure. But if I have another waist belt with the leash on, and then I try to turn the pouch around, sometimes it's just a mess there as well. That's
But
why I thought the calf version would be like cleaner.
but if you attach it to your pouch, you figure out the side the way you spin, then the leash always stays
Yeah, that's true.
behind you. Do you see what I mean? So if
Yeah.
you left or right, if you tend to spin one way, you need the leash to be on that side so that it stays more behind you. It doesn't go in front of you.
That's true. That's true.
And then it's a no, you don't even, after a while, you don't even notice it's there. Like I said, the only complication is the puzzling your body back on the board and getting your leg under the leash.
This is when going out on the water, like having the board here and then like just walking over and getting ready when flipping the board. And yeah, but okay, all right, that makes sense. I'm gonna try that then.
Yeah, just be let me just be conscious when you twist one way, the leash will stay behind you if it's on the left side and you twist this way, it stays behind you. If it's on the right side and you twist this way, it goes in front of your belly, and then you're like, oh shit, now it's in the way of my pouch. It's just I don't know, common sense.
Yeah, and it's another learning, right?
Yeah, I think
Constantly learning.
All right. Well,
I hook everything to my pouch right now. Not pouch. Well, it could be a pouch or waist belt, the black belt, or the Anchorman wing harness. And I just like my leash attaching to my waist. There's less stress on my knees, my ankles. I don't step on things as much. And then I've experimented with carabiners. We have quick releases. So, but you brought up a great point. Is if you go from an ankle or calf cuff and then you get back on your board, a lot of times when you fall, it'll twist the leash. I think twist the leash forward, right? So you need to be able to just still get on, put your leg under the leash as you get up on the board, and then
Yeah.
turn your harness or whatever, your pouch, back into position. And once that becomes second nature, like you're not thinking about it, it's not a big deal. But initially, people like kind of give up and go, it's too much of a hassle. My leash was between my legs and whatever. But I think once you
yeah.
Right.
give it a go and say, hey, I'm committing this, it'll work. It works. And then you'll say, I'll never go back to a knee or ankle cuff. But that's why we provide knee and ankle
Exactly.
cuffs is everyone rides what they feel best, I think is best.
For us amateurs, which is great. Well, thank you very much, Cynthia. Is there anything you want to tell the world, Cynthia?
Well, I'll just say one last before I leave. I asked Roy and Karen were gracious enough to give me a couple of leashes to pass out to some of my friends here on Maui, and one guy is my neighbor and he's kind of short on funds, so I wanted him to have one, and he's ripping surfer, ripping winger, ripping parawinger, and he yesterday was his first day with it because we haven't had much wind. He's been winging and he didn't think he needed it. He was just saving it for parawinging, and he was out yesterday in the surf with me and he was screaming, I love this leash, because he's always had an ankle leash his whole life because he's a surfer. And then when I gave him this leash with a carabiner on it, and I go, just trust me, just try it. You're gonna have to like work out the gymnastics getting on your board, because he asked me and I said, just try it. And he was out there and he was screaming because it was like he had one less piece of equipment to deal with. He had no leash because he couldn't feel it. It wasn't grabbing his parawing, and he was just stoked as can be. So I think if people would open their mind to that waist connection, the coil cover is that much better because it's that much, everything's out of your way, and it's the whole Leash, which Kaohi came up with, is an amazing product, and this just was another little addition to it. And I'm super stoked I got to work with Roy and Karen, and it's been great, and I can't wait to develop more stuff. And then
Awesome.
I'm going parawinging.
Yeah,
So
she's
Nice.
out.
Enjoy. You said it's windy, so that's
out.
great.
Cynthia, thank you for
it dropped a little. It's blowing
No.
16.
So she's amazing. She,
missed
again, like I
that.
said, she knows how to sew, invent, she creates stuff, which is amazing. So Cynthia working on this was relentless, and the concern for quality and safety was there. She goes, I don't want to put it out there if it's not working right. I don't want to put it out there, and we worked a lot. I mean, we did things like our company invested in a sewing machine, and there's special thread and stitches we were stitching patterns that we worked on, and then worked on different lycras and stuff. So there's all this that you don't think about, especially something new. This is not like a polyurethane cord and a rail saver and a cuff, and we work on those too. But this is definitely special. And Cynthia is the core inventor, the key inventor, the inventor of it. So we just worked with her on refining it, and so we're thankful for Cynthia. So if you see her in the water, you're in Maui, you got to thank Cynthia there for sure. She's amazing.
So thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you so much. Have a good session.
Okay, bye-bye. Aloha.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
That was
That was
cool.
epic. When she like started to work with you, did she want anything in return, or did she say like, "Oh, can you try this maybe?" And it evolved naturally. How did that happen?
In what way? What do you mean? In the design of
Like
it
your
or in the
collaboration?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she is like a person that wants to help the sport grow and into safety and helping others. She talks about the people that she like donated some gear to, and there's some people that aren't as fortunate but need to be safe and need the best of the best, and so she's that type of person that gives back, and this is completely not selfish. I mean, it was purely, hey, I got you have a great leash, there's some things you've been working on. I think I can help make it better, and let's try to make it better. So,
And also, it makes a lot of sense. Like if I look at where she rides, like on an island in the ocean. I mean, for me here in Switzerland, we're at a lake. Worst case, we swim for an hour or two and get washed on shore. So it's totally different for her or people on Hawaii or somewhere at the ocean than compared to what we have here in Switzerland. Still super comfortable though.
yeah, yeah. So, well, you had a great session there. I think it was Garda, wasn't it? That last video or one of your last
Yeah,
videos.
yeah.
That was amazing. That's as crazy as it gets elsewhere too. So, you're not a novice. You're an expert out there. So that's great to see that.
Yeah, I really stretched that leash, man. That was really it got some tension going and it worked. It really worked. I always when I fell and I fell quite a lot, I always said to myself, gonna go back on my little island on my board and just like breathe a little bit and then get going again. And it was yes, I used a calf version but I got
Yes.
used to it a bit. Sometimes I stand on it, but now as we talked about, like maybe I'm gonna switch it up and use the waist belt just to see how it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. I think.
You're with the belt as well, huh? You clip it on.
Yeah, yeah. I love like the black belt you have right there. That's like when I sup surf, and if you do like light winging and stuff, you don't want the full harness or downwinding is an amazing product as well. And it's a safe product. You can hook it to D rings. You got soft loops, hoops on there. It's well made and it's not too heavy. It's
There.
like meant to be a lighter weight, not called a non harness. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. All right, we're gonna
Yeah.
take a quick break and come back after a
Cool.
word from our sponsor.
Have you ever recorded a session with a foiling app and then forgot to turn it off on your way home? Well, now with Foilsessions, you can actually crop your session, meaning that you can take out the car ride and just focus on your foiling, which is amazing. Try Foilsessions for free with the link below.
We're back now, and I'm super curious, about your riding yourself. Obviously, you ride your leashes. Are you usually on the water thinking what you could do next, or are you actually enjoying yourself and just enjoy the sessions?
Well, yeah, definitely enjoying the session, of course, right? And I'm the kind of guy that I like to foil with friends and be out there with other guys, and talk whatever, just fun stuff, right? Smile at each other, hoot at each other. People talk about gear. It's kind of what's cool about surfers don't talk to each other when they're in the water. Foilers do. And I was thinking about this, there's got to be some sort of DNA in us that's similar or something that makes us happy, right? We're happy people, even while we're learning how to parawing or trying something new and so I enjoy the foiling. And I'm not worried about falling too much. And I'm stoked for the young crew. I mean, they can go right into foiling, and there's so much they can do now that as the older crew that I'm in is we're extending our waterman career and getting into foil driving and let's call it foil assist and downwinding if you want to, or winging or parawinging or just sup surfing or prone foot. There's so much, and then you can do tanker foiling. There's so many different angles you can get into it, but you can ride there's so many, you ride whatever you have, and there's so much fun now, and the cure is great, and it's a lot of fun.
When you're out on the water, do you often think about like, that could be better. I could improve on that. Um, or as you said, it's like, no, I just enjoy the session with friends. Or do you have that in the back of your head? Because when I look at your on your website, you have so many things. Like I also see like the Anchorman for winging that you have there. So many things. So there must always be something else floating around.
You know what? There always is. I think as a business owner invested in an amazing sport, is you there's probably no down in my mind. There's not a lot of downtime. I mean, you're working hard to provide an amazing product or service or whatever. So, but that doesn't stop me personally from enjoying the moment. Like when we go to Hawaii or whatever, yeah, I'm here to like work with possibly work with some customers, friends that are people that we support and that kind of stuff. But that's not. It's a friendship. It's not like a business transaction. So as we go anywhere, it's like that, and ultimately is our favorite part is actually meeting people that we've heard about, but maybe we know their Instagram name or whatever, and then we finally meet them. Then we see them next year, maybe at Hood River, see them in Maui, and pretty soon we got this relationship with people around the world, and things like WhatsApp are bringing us together, and the Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that. So yes, it's a ton of fun, ton of fun.
And it's really there. I also feel like the same way. And it's really social media. It's not just a saying. I tried to like do a little research before this podcast, but on your website, I couldn't find your name. Um, is that on purpose?
Not really. It's because it's not about us, right? It's That's a great question. It's about Kaohi, and we're not calling attention to ourselves, but I have an amazing wife who's the other partner here and known for her popular. We'll call them chocolate chip cookie brownies. Anytime we go, we do support them with great desserts, or she does an amazing job with video, and her Instagram is Foil Fan. And so we're just like, we give back. Like everyone, it's like when we were surfing young, we always wanted our picture to be in Surfer magazine or just get a photo of us, right? And now we, I wouldn't say overdo it because everyone gets so stoked with it. And so it's always great to give back, and ultimately we're giving back. And again, we're just not calling ourselves out, but most people know who we are, and is again, that's just how we run it. So yeah, great question though.
It's really super. It's super nice, super cool. So is Karen your wife and you running the company? Are there other people involved? How does the company look like?
Yeah, it's just the two of us. But we do have people that come in and that we hire to support us and do certain tasks and stuff like that. And then we have family members too. They get paid in food and dessert and stuff like that. But then obviously we have local sewing shops that do custom work for us, that obviously paid work and stuff like that. But as a company, as we grow, I mean, ultimately, as we're getting close, where there's going to be some unique things happening to the business, and but it's we think it's the right level of employees at this point, and we'll see what happens. So, you know what will be cool right here is we talked about collaboration. And that's another way to grow your business, where you have, like, we have Chris up in Santa Barbara, and Clay is his partner. They are the creators of the Anchorman leash. and waist belt and harness. And we also, they're the ones we're doing the new stowaway Parawing harness with. So as you look at it, and there's another
Oh,
collaboration
okay.
with Paul Cooper for straps. Their straps are coming. Um, letting you know all our secrets, but the idea is that sometimes as you grow your company, it can be grown through collaboration, right? It does. You don't have to be the maker of everything or create everything, because there's so many great
Yeah.
um, creative minds out there. And then where we would come in this situation is just help on the manufacturing and making sure it gets made properly, prototyping, all that stuff. And that's an important part of it as well. So we're totally stoked with Chris and what we've done with the Anchorman and the stowaway pouch. We talked about that briefly, and we had a few of them out there in the field. We realized there's some things that we can um that we can change on them, of course, right? That's a great thing about a company like ours. We're nimble. We don't make a leash for the same leash for the whole year and buy mass quantities of it. As we buy it strategically as we need to and make changes. And because if you buy 10,000 of them, you're in a situation here where you got to sell 10,000 before you can make a new leash, right? So that's
Hmm.
kind of how we do it. But the stowaway pouch, this is a perfect timing because today is they just came in. We just got our shipment arrived. I know
All
a lot
right.
of people are looking forward to it, so I can't wait to talk to you further about that personally. We can talk more on that. But yeah. So company structure is how it is, but there's a lot of these collaborations that are going on and coming up that will just make us, I think, a solid company, a different way to do it.
What? How does a like regular day or maybe a week uh look like for you? Like, are you obviously a lot of calls, meetings, how it always is, but like who's in charge of like packaging? Who's in charge of like picking colors? I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's interesting is existing customers versus new people, right? There's always new customers, right? And so we just split that up. And there's people that are different time zones, different across the world and stuff like that. So we always try to get back as soon as possible. Hopefully we're not traveling at a special event like in Florida or Hood River or Hawaii or places like that we go to. And it's just one of those things is we try our best to get back to people, and we do split that up. Sometimes we're responding by email. Sometimes I do a lot of the responding. The packaging and fulfillment, we both do that, and we have people that we hire locally come in and work with us on the fulfillment. And that's kind of it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of we'll call it after hours work. We don't shut the door at 5 like a lot of businesses, like, all right, we're done at 5, everyone goes home. As you have a new
Yeah.
business, and as you can't do that, and there's a lot of people in the foiling industry that do that all the time, and there's amazing talent out there. And it's they know the gig there is you can't sleep almost, but we do. So, and we get in the water, we have fun. So, but it's the biggest thing that motivates, and you might ask it, is really just is we love our company, we love our products, and we're always trying to service the customer. And that our joy is making sure that you guys are well geared up and happy, and the customers are happy, and we know we did our best. That's the ultimate.
I mean, y- how many years have you been making leashes now?
So this is our seventh year. Yeah, seventh year in business, and it was slow at first. It was like, this is easy, but we weren't selling a lot, right? So we didn't, you know, of course, you don't sell a lot, but as it grows, it goes, oh no, this is like, we really have to be buttoned down. And so about 7 years, I think it is, and that's about. Do I have that right, Karen? Yes. She gives me a nod from the other side of the room there. So yes, so she
Nice.
is. She's we're having a great time with seven amazing years, and we got to thank the customers. You know, what's that? Yeah, we call them customers. Shouldn't say customers, they're actually riders, right? people that invest in us and trust us. So thank you to everyone that's, along the way. And if you haven't found us out, and if we can help you out, we'd obviously love to help you out, and we'll do everything we can to make sure you guys are, guys and gals are taken care of. So yeah, no, it's super cool, super super cool.
It's fun because when I talk to my friends about that leash, he said, "Yeah, I use the Invis leash. Of course, I use it as well. Oh, now that looks nice." With is there anything looking back where you said like, "Yeah, we should have done that differently," or is there anything like on the other side that you said like, "This was just the best thing we've ever done," and yeah, that's our like best ever product.
Yeah, you know what? One of our first products was called the paddle belt, and it was like a little belt that had a little like a little tether thing, and you hook your paddle to. It's meant for sup surfing, so you'd like tether your paddle to your this belt, and you'd paddle out on your belly like a surfer. And that was really our first product. I mean, a lot of times you develop something and you think it's cool, but it's not really going to sell, right? But it leads you to other opportunities, and you go, well, this belt needs to be like a black belt. And the first black belt that you have, we call that the black belt, kind of a play on the martial arts there. That's our, well, those have been improved, but it used to be just a strap. That the webbing used to be the webbing strap and a plastic buckle, a plastic slider. Now it's that stainless black slider that you see. And s-
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything we regret or that was, but I think what happens is like on that belt is I had friends start winging. We were all learning how to sup foil and or prone foil, and then a couple of people disappeared when winging came around. I go, "Where are you going?" Well, where we foil's glassy and smooth all the time, good waves, and they'd have to drive up toward Long Beach, was just an hour and a half. I go, "Where are you going?" And we're winging here. So then I started going, well, I got to try it too, because if I'm going to sell something here, I like try to like at least try the sport a little bit. And all of a sudden the plastic buckles on those belts were breaking. I go, how are you breaking these things? They're supposed to be like strong. Well, people started, instead of just going back and forth and mowing the lawn or whatever, they started riding waves and they started getting airs. And it's like, oh, wow. We never thought that those would break and they could be a challenge. So things like that, that's the thing that like we worry a lot about our products and the riders and don't want people to get hurt and or be part of it. And we know we can't control everything, and but that's the challenge from that perspective, is like, is there anything would have done differently? I think you're always trying to improve, and whether it's
Yeah.
a mistake or not, it's you never know.
Because we talked about it before, and the leash really is like a safety tool. Because if you lose your board when you're out and about, then it can get dangerous quite quickly. Um, you said that you're worried sometimes. Is there anything that we should do with our leashes? Should we like, if it's salty, should we
Yeah.
clean it? Should we keep it in the shade? How often should we change that coiled part? Can you give us any tips?
Yeah, I love that question. Rarely do people rinse off their leash, right? But we rinse off wetsuits. Well, there's neoprene on the cuff, and anytime you rinse salt off of swivels and screws and stuff, it's a good thing. It can't hurt. So just rinsing it off. Probably the biggest thing I see is foil cuts on the polyurethane part, right? And the problem with this industry is l- surfing rarely does a fin, in my experience, a fin cut a leash. It just doesn't happen as much as foiling. And foiling, it can happen like first session. I have one semi recent experience where I put a brand new leash on, went and tacoed and felt it. That didn't get hit, but the leash wrapped around the mast. The back of these masts now are super sharp, and it didn't break, but I looked at it and it was sliced a bit, and I'm going, that was the first session. So if I was
Yeah.
a rider, we'll call it a customer too as well, I'd be going, crap, this thing sorry about that. And that's kind of a swear there. Apologize. It 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 just cut it, and it's like now it's ruined. In the first, I just spent X amount of euros or AUD or USD and or Canadian, and it's like or elsewhere, of course. It's how it's ruined. How do we handle that? And we don't cover non-manufacturer's defects, but we will help. So I just want you
All
put
right.
let you know and we do our best to make the high quality product, but that's the challenge. So inspect again. Why that story came out is inspect that leash, inspect that coil, like run your hands down it. And the other thing is too is we are. Let me see if I have it here. I have my little props of stuff here, but I thought I see it. I put it in my pocket. Is we're coming out with a Dyneema leash plug rope that you could and it's not they've been oh yeah, right here. This is it right here. Your leash plug rope should be inspected as well. Whatever you run through. We put a nice nylon rope on some of our leashes, but it's not going to be that's nothing lasts forever. So always inspect your leash, especially polyurethane. Inspect your leash plug rope. If that's a leash plug rope that's been on your foil board for a year, you're probably due for a new one. Um, and if you don't
Yep.
find any cuts in the polyurethane shouldn't break on a normal tug or a normal like fall or whatever. So it's really the slice, and they fall apart with an initial slice, little slice, and then it finally breaks when and it could be a small wave. It's like, well, it broke on a small wave. Well, because we didn't look at it from the previous big wave session or, wind session, is we really don't know when it started or whatever. But that's where we work with you and stuff like that. Is we wanna work with you on that. But we'll do things like this. This is a Dyneema loop thing that you can leash plug rope, and so we're gonna start introducing a couple new things coming up, just minor things that could be majorly helpful in that process. So of making sure you're safe and you don't lose your board or lose your wing. So
Yeah, well, thank you for that, first of all. S- Speaking about like your leashes, and I look at them all the time. Kaohi, the name is Hawaiian. Who came up with
yes.
that, and what does it mean exactly?
So a lot of times surfing, many people feel, and I feel that way too, is surfing. The birth place of surfing is Hawaii. Foiling, I think guys like Laird and Dave Kalama were kind of the leaders in modern foiling, let's call it, because there are things like air chairs and there's all sorts of other
Uh-huh.
foiling that's been out there. But when you look at it's kind of like sup surfing, those guys had a hand in it too. We got to give it, me personally, got to give a lot of thanks to Dave and I know Dave, but I don't know Laird. But thank you for some of these innovations and showing us what's possible. And Step into Liquid, I think it was the movie that they had I don't know if it was snowmobile boots or ski boots. Then they had locked in and they're being towed in. It's just one of those things. Is just grateful for what some people have done before us and stuff like that. So where were we on that? Um,
The name.
oh yeah, yeah. So the name, sorry, I lost that one. So when you come up with a brand or whatever, sometimes you do whiteboards and stuff like that. And you go, what? First, you figure out what does your product do, and our product is really about control and safety. And kaohi is the Hawaiian word for control or control things or whatever. And it was like, you know what? That would be a cool name for a product. Ran it by some people, and and some people like that, like anything new. Some people don't like it. I don't know what it means. I go, well, sometimes you don't have to know what it means, right? It just becomes that. So we came out with that became the brand, and again, the Hawaiian word for control. And yeah, it was really ended up being a good choice, and we were going through all these different names and stuff like that. So yeah. I have Karen
All right,
give me
very
a
nice.
Karen, come here. come in. I want to bring Karen in here really quick and have her say hello to the crew here.
Yeah,
So,
sure, sure.
Mama Karen. So, yeah.
Hey,
So he can hear you, I think, right? Say hello.
nice to meet you.
A little louder because it's through here. But Mama Karen makes the best cookie brownies,
Oh,
amazing videos. She keeps me in line, which is important as well. And she's does an amazing job here with the business. So it's she's the CEO. Yes. So, but yeah, thank you,
what
Mama Karen.
what is your job, Karen?
Yeah. What is my job? You know what? We have our strengths. What is my job?
He's the chief talker.
She says I'm the chief talker. I like to talk.
That's important too.
As so yeah, I can talk to anyone like anyone else. You know, I just love making friends and stuff like that. And but yeah, so you know, a lot of it's good question. Like because my experience is with writing, so I when we come up with ideas or doing something or design a marketing or design a brochure, it's like, well, that word won't quite work, you know, and her experience looking from the outside, not being a foiler, but being around foiling all the time might be a little bit different. And you get fresh ideas too, right? It's and I listen to her all the time. So, right? Yes. But yeah, so there's so many great ideas that you get from different perspectives, and that's where she's at. And a lot of, especially the marketing and design and packaging and me. Oh, you. She's
Our writers give us the ideas. I mean, the problems that they solve, they have the problems.
yeah. You didn't hear the question, but that was a good
All
answer.
right, so
Oh,
It
not
was
just good
perfect.
talker,
It was
also good
perfect.
listener, huh?
Yeah, yeah. She can. Yeah, they can. She can hear
Thank
everything.
you.
Yes. No, that's yeah, so it's like a combo. You know, we like pick up where like you know, there's like I might have that relationship with Chris for the new harness, you know, and the new stowaway pouch that we just got to prove that
Let's
there's a
talk
legit
about that.
product.
Yes. Ah, nice. Can you
Yes.
talk about what was special or what is special about that?
So Chris and Clay, by the way, if you don't know them, Chris was part owner one time of Cloud9 Foils. He's an amazing waterman, and Clay's an engineer, and they became partners. And ultimately, he came up with the concept of the Anchorman, which is that the drag chute that you could let go of your wing and the chute or the sea anchor would stop your wing from flying away. And then some people are using that novel wise, and so they would drop their wing and pump around and go back and get it. But ultimately, as we feel, it's more of a safety thing. I mean, it's like there's so many videos of people coming in on waves and rolling their foil up onto the wing, and the wing is destroyed, right? So why not dump a wing? Bring your board in,
Uh-huh,
go back
uh-huh.
out and get your wing, and it's not going to get hurt really in the waves and stuff like that. So, so he created that, and that became part of our product line. And so we collaborated on the new stowaway product. And so where I come in with this is more of a partner on the marketing and sales side, but there Chris does a great job of that too as well. But he's is like I'll get feedback from the field, just like Mama Karen said, is we listen and the people that tried this initially go, improve this, fix this, this could be good, and then it'll be amazing. So, and that's what we did. So this version that came out here has some adjustments. You know what? I got to thank Gavin for his video too, by the way. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that on the thing here too, but yeah, I know you guys are
No,
friends.
sure, sure,
So
sure. Awesome. You
yeah,
know, yeah, it's a community, really. Yeah.
yeah, as a community, some feedback, and hopefully we'll get this in your hands. We'll say, but the idea of the stowaway harness is it's a harness based system, so it's not a web or a belt system. So this truly gives you amazing back support. Maybe you can see the back of it. The strapping goes around here, silicone base. So once you lock it in place, it stays there. So it doesn't undo itself. And then the buckle. that holds it in place is super, super strong and stout, and it's completely different than some of the other compression buckles. And you can see like a connection point for a leash and stuff like that on both sides. And it does
Yeah.
come with a hook, and it's a novel new
Oh,
hook.
nice.
So
It
it's
was a question. Yeah.
yeah, novel new hook. Here you go, preview, first preview.
Oh,
So,
nice.
and so you have the
Okay,
ability
nice.
to, and it comes with a hook, and a couple of things. It's the fabric is amazing. It stretches. Sorry, I got to hold this up. It stretches, but I think one of the biggest improvements we made is the initial feedback was this was meant to hold more than one wing. Not everyone needs to hold more than one wing, right? So it's kind of like, all right, well, California, we might have two wings, one big wing, one small, and then you want to be able to swap them out
Mm-hmm.
in emergency or whatever. So the feedback was, and I'll try to expose this, as you can see, is we made it so you can reduce the size of the pouch by snapping these. Well, it's not quite a snap, but you can shrink it so it acts as a single bag pouch, or I mean a single wing pouch or a double wing pouch. So if you decide before the session that, you know what, I want to take two wings, you can open it up. It's great. And or if you decide
Oh,
that
nice. But they're not two different
you want to
chambers,
do,
are they?
no, same chamber, but it's collapsed down on it. You can it
Okay.
might be better to open
Oh,
this
nice.
up, but I'll just open up one side. Is the idea is that if it's, you can see it has amazing drainage, but if it's
Yeah.
open like this is a lot of volume here, like at the bottom of the pouch. Let me see if this will even
Mm-hmm.
come. Yeah, I'll just open it this way. So um, and I think that's where I open it up. So if this opens up, you have all this extra pouch area. But if we collapse it down and lock it in, it now
Okay.
acts like a single pouch. So you don't get the extra
Nice.
volume or whatever water weight or whatever, especially if there's a wing in there. So that's kind of the neatest little improvement we have to it. So it's really the only, we'll call it adjustable volume of the internal pouch harness, that's harness and pouch out there. And it is harness based, so super strong, super stout inside. Obviously this will stretch out. You can see, you can stuff it in here. And then the inside further
Yeah.
is a little slot over here. You can see for if you want to put your own, like a knife or some sort, you can stuff it in there. That's nice.
Okay.
And
But
the other thing
you
is,
don't like deliver it with a hook knife.
no, we don't. We don't. It was one of those things that is, you could probably find one. There's other versions out there right now where we just didn't want to, you know, delve into that. So there's probably other
Yeah.
good
Okay.
ones in there out there that are out there. The Yeah, so this is amazing. Now and by the way, the security, I didn't go into that at the you can see right here you have a little tab here that you can just undo this and just basically open this up. You can see you can open this up and that gives you more room on the pouch. It'll
Mm-hmm.
stretch open. This, yeah, I don't know. It's really well made. I mean, that's the one thing you'll see is this should last a long time. Inside, you can see it's like amazing drainage and it's ready to rock. By the way, there's also a little anchor in here. So if you do, there's a dry bag that we're going to be launching here. We should have in stock in a week or so. So if you want to put your second wing in a completely dry bag, it won't grab water as well. That's the other thing. If you stuff in a wing or the wing inside this that doesn't have some sort of dry bag around it, is you will grab water and stuff like that. So that's another solution there. But you can lock that wing in here, that extra wing in here, if you want to. And so I think this is
All
going to be
right.
a
Very
winner.
nice.
So yeah, so that just came in
Very nice.
today. So we're
Roy, did
gonna
you turn off the camera? Sorry, just asking.
no. Oh yeah, turn on reaction. Did I? Am I still
Yeah,
here?
there we are. All right.
There we
Good.
go. Okay,
Yes.
I probably did. Probably the
You
pouch
were
did,
just
and I didn't
saying.
know it. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. So the I'm back on, right? Yes, you can see me, right? Good.
Yeah. Yeah. All good.
Yep. Okay. Good. Okay. Good. So yeah. So the stowaway harness.
So
It's a
you
good. Yeah.
no, go ahead. I was just saying we have a
No,
little lag. So yeah, you just continue. All good.
Yeah. And so the last thing here, which is cool, is which is a cool invention. Chris is a big parawinger and stuff like that. I'm the novice in the group, but that's where our friends come into play. Is there's a little fold over in the front of this. A lot of times you'll want to stuff your wing in here, and maybe you stuff the bar inside of it as well. But what this gives you the ability to do is stuff your parawing in here, and then tuck one end of the bar on this end, and tuck it over here, and then
Oh,
your
nice.
bar is outside the pouch. It's just sitting there, wedged under this little flap. You can see the flap a little better there, and and
Yes,
uh,
yes, yes.
and the idea that it's out there, and so you can pull your bar separately, and then just fly the parawing, and it's really well thought out, well designed, and it works amazingly well. And so again, some great improvements. Um, a lot of people have given us good feedback on the early version, so we have the new, improved, even though it was never launched version right here too. So you'll love it. I think you'll love it.
That is super cool. Well, Roy, we're way in over now. Thank you so much for taking your time. Is there anything else that you want to tell the world, like something about Kaohi, about foiling, about when's your next session? When are you going on the water next time?
Oh, when is my next session and what about Kaoi? The
Yeah,
hopefully later today. You never know, right? Depends on we
nice.
might get a wing session in later today. It's a little bit of wind right behind us. Probably because, yeah, a little bit of wind there. It might be enough. We're light winders here, so we ride like 8 meters and 7 meters and big wings, but we're all
Oh, wow.
stoked. The San Diego wing crew is amazing. So, I mean, ultimately, we're just there's so many people that supported us from day one and the foiling side to now. We're just so grateful. I mean, we can't do this without you. There's so much more fun yet to come, and we're here to support you. We're here to support the industry as well. Special events and stuff like that, we'll always do that and always give back. And that's really our goal with our company is to just have a lot of fun and make sure we give back and make sure everyone is stoked. And we got a lot of great gear coming out this year. There's one last thing, and this new downwind pouch that just launched yesterday. So if you just want to go downwinding and you want to store maybe a phone, iPhone, or other type of phone, whatever, it fits. It has loops on the back here. You can fit it right in the black belt that you might already own. But this is more like a strapping that you might use when you put your passport in and go on the airplane or whatever. But it's another new thing. So we always have some stuff coming down the road, and we love to work with you. And we got to thank obviously the shops too, and the shops have a lot of great riders, and they've been great to us. And the people that gave us a shot when we were nobody, and we're still nobody, but we're trying hard, and we just give you thanks. And um, um, Bruno, of course, right? So we got to thank him in Switzerland. So thank the Swiss guys,
Yeah.
and you guys are amazing. So thank you guys all for that. So, and obviously, if I left anyone out, there's so many people that have collaborated with us in design and whatever, and we're just appreciate that, and look forward to a great 2026, and hopefully we'll see if you guys are coming to Hood River this year or to the M2O, M2M races. We can't wait to see you. Please look us up. Feel free to tag us, reach out to us. We're here to support you. Or you come to San Diego, come say hello. We'd love to see you.
All right, this is awesome. This is great, man. Thank you very much. And this is a perfect place to wrap the episode up. Just one last thing. If people want to
Yes.
check out your leashes or that pouch, like they have to go on boardmeetingusa.com, right? Or go to your local shop, as you just said, Seven Surf here in Switzerland. Super cool, Bruno and
Yes.
Titsu and the whole gang. So thank you very much. And for all the listeners who are still here after 90 minutes or something, maybe, if you like it, give it some stars on Apple Podcasts or a review on Spotify. That always helps. Thank you very much. And see you guys in the next one.
You got it. Thank you, sir.